her and I since I was like 6 years old. And so every time, like when I was in shows growing up in summer camp, and then when I went into high school, mom was the first one at the theater. Even it's so funny. Like when she comes to see plays now with the assigned seating, she will be the first one in the theater, and I'm like, "You have an hour to wait, mom." She's like, "I don't care. I'm going to be the first one in here." So yes, fully supportive always.
Welcome to the podcast. Welcome back to the podcast, the Broad Street Review podcast, season 10. It's still blowing my mind. I've been saying it all season. We normally do 22 episodes a year, a season. And we are at episode 32 today, and it's only April. So we are crushing it as far as conversations about cultural community. If you are listening now, you should go back and listen to the rest of this season. It has been amazing. These have been conversations I just could not pass up. And so today is also one of those I've been looking forward to and didn't want to pass up. Today, I'm in the virtual studio with actor Adam Howard. And Adam, I have seen on many stages. He has worked on stages that I was running, and he's also all around our community, bringing his talent to various stages and places. So I'm glad to have a chat with Adam Howard today. Adam, welcome to the podcast.
And Darnell, thank you. Thanks for having me.
I think you pick the most interesting characters to play on stage. Every time I see you on stage, I'm just like, I can't shake that you were Wilbur in
Yeah,
Charlotte's Web.
I
Like
miss him. I
it
miss
was
Wilbur.
it's such a beautiful moment of like you have to really embody an animal in that space. And
Yeah,
I don't think the audience understands the kind of training that is required for you to assume a role so authentically that doesn't speak, you know?
true. Well, when we started, he was like, there's not going to be any pig prosthetics. If you're going to be Wilbur the pig, you're going to stand there in overalls and a pink shirt. And it's up to you, the actor, to embody it physically and vocally. And so then there I am at home that night watching 3 hours of YouTube pig videos, feeling like a weirdo.
They just mill about.
Yeah,
But that was such a beautiful piece because, it's a childhood story that we all know. We've all seen the animated.
I loved
Um,
doing that one so much.
and and so I that is one that stands out, but I feel like every role that you've been in, as long as I've known you, has been some kind of interesting character that's really hard to shake. And so I wanted to talk to you about, how you got your start here in Philadelphia and the path that you're on that brought you to us today. And sort of like, what are you looking for when you're looking for opportunities to engage in a story on stage?
Well, I mean, I can tell you about where I came from. Is that what my origin
Yeah,
story? Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't grow up here. I grew up in the South. I was born in Georgia, and I grew up in Chattanooga, Tennessee. My mom still lives there, but I came up here because I was interested in theater in high school. And, in the South, the arts a lot of times lose out to funding in favor of sports or other extracurricular activities. And I was a part of the first high school cohort that put together a drama club, and we would do productions and stuff like that. And so when I would go to the guidance counselor and talk about what I wanted to do in school, they would be like, acting.
Mhm.
Okay, I don't know how to help you very much with that one. But you can start looking up in the north in New York, Chicago area and stuff like that. But then I found Philly, and I toured UArts, and then I ended up going there. This was before it closed, of course. I went there from 2013 to 2017, and then I graduated, and I've been working here ever since. But I came up here looking for a career in the arts because in the Northeast, it just seemed like it was thriving. Um, and UArts had a beautiful sales pitch to where they would let you were really working on shows, and you were working in the classroom on new scripts every day, and that really drew me to that program. It was a hands-on approach that was taught by working professionals in Philadelphia too. Um, and then once I graduated, I started putting my stuff out there. Even actually before I graduated, I was looking for opportunities to dip my toe into the community, and so even before I graduated, I started understudying at the Art and theater exile as well, just to start to show my face around town, so that when I actually graduated, I could hopefully I would already know some of these folks that were sitting behind the table.
Yeah.
right? So that's kind of
Yeah.
where that's yeah. I tell people I'm from the South, and they're like, well, "You don't have an accent," and I said, "You should hear my mother."
It's interesting. There a lot of people have roots in Georgia. Like my mother's side of the family is from Georgia, Hawkinsville area. I think it's just past
But yeah,
Macon. I'm not sure which county that is. But then
do
I
they
have
still live
family
down
in
there?
there's families smattered throughout. I have
Yeah.
some family in Ware County. My father lives out
Mm-hmm.
there. Yeah, but it's interesting. I also when I flew there for a family reunion, I didn't realize what a straight shot it is from Philly and how many
Oh yeah.
Philadelphians I saw walking around in Atlanta. It was
Yeah.
just like, "Oh yeah, I guess it
There's
is
this, yeah,
pretty
and this has
direct."
nothing to do with anything, but there's this dude who like super commutes from Atlanta, Georgia, flies on a plane and goes to his office in Philadelphia. I see it on Instagram all the time, but that has
Wow.
nothing to do with
Oh,
anything. But yeah, it is. It's just a straight 2 hour flight down there.
yeah. So you're here in Philly.
Yeah.
You were already and it's funny because in theater, we say we get bit by the bug, but I feel like
Yeah.
Philly is a bug that bites you too. It takes a bit. I remember I had a friend who was living here and kept saying they had a hard time, and I was like, "Philly has a way of testing you every 6 months or so." It's like the first 6 months, you're like, "How are we feeling?" "I don't know, I'm okay." Your first year, you're like, "You made it." And now it skips over, and it's like, "Can I make another year?" And after that, it's just like, "I can't see another place."
Hmm.
This is gonna be my, my sort of landing pad no matter what I do in the world, and Philly just sort of grabs you like that.
I also go through phases like this, and I don't know if it's called seasonal depression or just something else. But
Mhm,
like, yes, you go through these months and spells where like everything is going right, and then there are other months where you're starting to look out to other
mhm.
markets and see if you want to branch out and see what's going
Yeah,
on. But Philly does have this beautiful personality that kind of like it's impossible to shake, right? Something I love about this city and why I've stayed in it for so long is that this community, especially the theater community, has always felt pretty accessible to me as a employee and as a patron. I mean, we have a huge market for small theaters in a way that I have not seen in any other major city that I visit. Like
mhm.
Atlanta, Georgia, you go down there, you're going to find a couple of these places, and they're doing pretty run of the mill like Beauty and the Beast or with large musical productions and stuff like that. Spam a lot. And then here we're doing some like really
Yeah,
challenging and intense work that stuff that I had never heard of and stuff that really challenges and provokes audiences. And
yeah,
it's a bold market too. So there's a lot of theater to see, yeah, but also as an employee, we do have a community where the auditions are pretty accessible. There's a lot of opportunities for teaching as well if you didn't want to perform. It's thriving. It is. So I haven't left for those reasons.
yeah. It's always great to reaffirm that we do have a strong ecosystem in the theater community. And, at moments, it may be tough to be on stage, but you can still be in and around the stage. You can still be supporting the stage, in general and
But
various
yeah.
things. I've always felt like that too, starting my own theater company and then just generally supporting every theater company.
And
Um,
even if you wanted to do that, like there's so many avenues to explore of
mhm,
like making your own art.
yeah,
If you're not able to make art in some of these institutions that are in place, you can go home and make your own work and start submitting it to we have so many festivals and small play conferences and stuff like that. I mean, it's the opportunities are amazing here to make your own work too.
yeah, absolutely. And so talking about how we have so much variety here, the last production you were in was with InisNua Theatre Company.
Yeah.
And their focus is contemporary plays from Ireland, England, Scotland, and Wales. And so when you sit in an Inish Nua production, you already know I probably do not know this piece at all. And so what is more exciting and interesting about it is why did Inish Nua do the work to bring this play over the pond? And what grabbed them about it to, wanna present it here in a space that potentially the audience could miss all of the, local and culturally specific jokes and premises and so on that are there, but it's not. Like, we are hungry for Inishnua's work, and,
Yeah.
it's always great to see how it, plays out on stage. but the last production was Can't Forget About You by David Ireland, and you were the lead in this show? Is it safe to call you the lead, or is it just an
The story
ensemble
was
piece?
the story was happening around me, that's for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, but it certainly was an ensemble piece. Yeah.
So talk about Can't Forget About You, but first talk about how you were introduced to it
Okay.
and what you thought after you read it.
So I worked for InisNua in the fall, um, in 2025. I did their Play in a Pint program, Pie in a Pint, at Fergie's Pub because every year they put up a couple of solo shows where you go to Fergie's Pub or the Drake and they provide a little pie from Stargazy in South Philly, and you get a pint and you watch the play. Through that, I was able to get this part and Can't Forget About You. I was introduced I read the script and I can't speak for KC or Inishnu of like why they specifically chose this play for this moment, but I can talk about what I think, from what I've overheard from her because this playwright, David Ireland, has a reputation for like really violent plays. Most of I've seen in an interview where he specifically says I have trouble ending plays without violence, which
Mm.
is funny because this is kind of the opposite of it seems like his attempt at writing a romantic comedy. And so when I read it, I was, yes, taken by the, like you said, the hometown kind of very specific references to stuff only that Irish people or Northern Irish people might recognize. But that being said, there is kind of a universal language to this because at the root of it, it's a family drama and it's a romance,
Mhm.
and introducing your partner to your family play. There was so much, I think, and it's why we were like the first night we did it in front of an audience, I was blown backwards and messed up my lines a few times because people were laughing and having a great
Mhm.
time in a way that I didn't expect it to go over so well. I mean,
Yeah.
no, like I thought it was going to go good, but we were getting a huge response, and it brought me a lot of joy. But I think it's just because people were excited to laugh and ready to laugh and
Mhm.
recognized so many of the situations in the piece in their own lives. It's like I said, it's a family drama. It revolved around me. Stevie, he's mourning the loss of his girlfriend. They just had broken up and he meets this woman, Martha, and she's older than he is in her late 40s. And it's their love story and him trying to introduce her to his family, mother and sister, who are a little apprehensive
Yeah.
to the relationship.
Reserved.
Indeed, indeed.
Yeah. I thought it I from Lights Up, really, I was like, "Everybody has to see this." It's just so I love how this Stevie is so heartbroken until he meets Martha,
Yeah,
and Martha makes a proposition, and he's like, she's taking so long to get to the point,
yeah.
and we can see as the audience, Stevie is so for whatever she's about to ask, and it's just like, "Oh, I thought he was heartbroken," and so
Yeah.
that part is hilarious. It's just like, sometimes in order to get over someone, you have to get under someone else.
Oh, that's well said. Stevie was kind of like there's so many references in the play to like him being a boy versus being a man. Like his mom calls him a boy all the time and he's 25 years old. He's a man now. So, at the beginning of the play you meet Stevie and he's in his underwear crying on the couch. And he's probably been there for a few days. His apartment is a mess. And so I think like the heartbroken at a certain point was kind of like not performative, but it was certainly exaggerated a bit
Yeah.
as Stevie because he sort of to me struck me as this guy who puts on a lot of hats for like 5 minutes. He's a Buddhist in the play, but the only real like practice that he has is he has candles in his apartment. You know what I mean? Like he's not actually a Buddhist. He might not actually be as heartbroken as he is, but he's gonna sit on the couch for 3 days and cry and listen to sad hip hop music too. Because I'm going through a breakup. So then when he meets Martha, it is kind of this jolt, and we talked about it a lot in rehearsal of like when you meet somebody in public and you realize that they're looking at you and you're looking at them, and then you have this great conversation and it kind of makes your head bubble and you kind of feel it and then you kind of ride on air for the rest of the day. So that's definitely the story we were trying to tell. But Martha's going through her own journey over there, which I'm glad that you said all that because it seemed like we were our hard work was paying off there in some of those talks we had in rehearsal about that specifically.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like maybe yeah, and you're right about the audience was just we were like hungry for this. There was crazy news, it's
I
been
know.
crazy news. And so we were able to get into this space and sort of forget about it for a moment to be immersed in what seemed to be a chaotic but like fast-paced story scenario. And then with all of the elements of the show that help tell that story, the scenic design, the
So good.
smooth and sometimes graceful transitions of these flats, transitioning the space that we're in. I was just as soon as I saw the first transition, I was in the back. I was last row. Just
They deserve applause. Yeah.
it's like when you know there's some good work being done here. It's usually you're looking at everything being so well done that it just kind of it complements each other so completely, and then it becomes like an overall wow, what a great. But the scenic design of Nick Embry was just sort of mind blowing, and it also gives an opportunity to sort of tease the space.
Mm,
It allows the space to show off, to show that the stage had all this depth and was able
yeah.
to house all of these other stories, scenarios behind its main set was just like, wow. And then you guys, the way you were sort of choreographically transitioned into each moment to bring us gracefully back into every scene. It's just all of those things, like they keep everybody tuned in. And I just thought that that was great execution.
It was awesome to watch because when we started rehearsals, some of those scene changes were taking like 2.5 to 3 minutes
Hmm.
because it was the first time we had worked on it. And then it became this beautiful, elegant, choreographed dance
Yeah.
that they got in a minute or less.
Yeah.
And then,
I'm,
yeah, you're right. It was very fluid and crisp. And then, us actors are starting to add in like our own little dance while around the flats to
yeah.
make it one beautiful, cohesive thing. Yeah,
I imagine that was chaotic until it was brilliant.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It made me think of when I was in high school and I was a stage manager. I remember saying to the crew, "What if we make flats that have wheels on them, and we can flip them around, and there's already a scene set there, and it's just going to be easier for us to coordinate." And back then, it seemed like genius, and I was like, I can't be the first one with this. I certainly wasn't, but
yeah.
it changed so much for us in terms of telling those stories. It all of those elements make me think of all the bits of theater that I have fallen in love with over the years. I came from stage management, um, and so it kinda made sense for me to be a producer, and so I love every element of theater, and I can find a way to celebrate all of those pieces because we don't always see it when someone buys a ticket, they're looking for a completely put together story from start to finish, and then they kinda walk out going, "That was good," or, "I didn't like it." It's somewhat of a surface idea, but, like, all of us who understand, like, we're digging deeper into this going like, "If that didn't work, this would have thrown off this whole scene,"
I know. Yeah.
those elements.
Well, some nights I was walking around before our first entrance in my underwear, and like I would see our amazing backstage crew and just tell them like, I feel like you guys are working harder than we are on stage for sure. You guys are doing manual labor, right?
Yeah,
So just kudos to them. They did an
yeah,
amazing job.
and
Yeah.
everyone's in service of and for each other, and so
Right.
it was just a wonderful team. Like, were there any because, in your first previews, people were laughing hysterically and they were really enjoying the piece and it was sort of pulling you in at the same time. Were there moments through this run where it was like, "Wow, that was outrageous," from the audience?
I mean, so there's this for anyone who didn't see it, there's a scene at the end of Act One where my character and Martha, the woman that I'm falling in love with, have dressed up as Superman and Wonder Woman because it seems to be Stevie's, my character's ultimate fantasy to do this role play thing. And then we get on the conversation of oral sex, right? What's this podcast rated?
No,
It's too
we're
late.
fine.
Anyway, so my character is going down on Martha, right? And then my mother and sister come back into the room and they up from vacation and they catch us in the act. It's the act one closer. So then we come back to act two and it's me and my sister and my mother trying to have a conversation about what they just witnessed. But we're sitting on the couch in the living room that 5 minutes ago you saw my character and Martha engaging in the sex activity on. We're all sitting on it, right? So we sit there in awkward silence for a minute, and the audience is laughing. And then I heard this person in the back row go, "Girl, get up." And I took kind of every bit of me to just maintain composure and stay in the moment because I was thinking that that whole time that my mother's sitting right there.
Wonderful, man. Yes, it's like we know what happened the scene before. And the way that scene starts, it's a very still moment, but we know everything that happened before it, and we are just beside ourselves.
It was really fun on those some nights when we were really cooking, it would become like a conversation. Like people were talking and talking back to us and whooping and hollering. It was crazy. I mean, it was so much fun though, because you love
Yeah.
you thrive on that. Like as a performer, you're just like, oh well, what else can I do? And then you start surfing and like you like that? Here's a little bit more. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
And it was the piece was also really good too because it engaged in an uncomfortable conversation with mother and daughter, generational differences, like different mindsets about life and how you live it. And that was a very unapologetic. It was uncomfortable for a moment, but it was like, we need to sit in this. This is something we
Yeah.
all need to hear. And as Alice York's character is talking to mother, played by Megan, right? Megan?
Megan Belwar.
Bower. It's so uncomfortable, but we're sitting there going, yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Yep. We
Educate
need to have
mom.
this.
And mom probably knows these things too, but perhaps at some point in her life, like, resigned to not being able to realize this part of herself. And it was just interesting to see that generational shift. Like, no, now we're aware and we make sure our partners are aware too. And
Yeah.
we can't pretend that we're not human and that we don't have needs and so on. I just thought it was so beautiful in this humor and it was chaotic but it
Mm-hmm.
was loving. The whole thing was loving, although it's still a racket.
And I think I mean, yes, but at the end of that scene, you can't tell me that they're not closer as a family.
Mhm.
You know, that they
Yeah.
don't feel a little bit more comfortable around each other despite the awkwardness. It's like
Mhm.
we just had a really hard conversation. All
Yeah.
right, let's take pride in that and high five.
Yeah. And it's also mom realizing that her boy is a man, you know?
That's
And
right.
sometimes it's hard for moms to see that because it's what they know. They just know how to take care of their boy.
Right.
And, you're getting older and you're growing up and you're doing everything like, your father would have done.
Yeah.
Not exactly, but just sort of like
Well,
coming into your own and
but you're right though. I mean, when I talk to my mom after, she's like, in my head, she always tells me this. She's like, in my head, you're always going to be that little boy,
mm,
which is, that's funny that I say that because yeah, my mom came to see that, and there's another sex scene throughout the play too, and she saw the play twice, but she
yeah.
loved it. So,
Well, I'm glad that that was the case, when family comes to see too, because I don't know, like, how do you think, I mean, does your family always support your work? Do you ever think that a choice that you made, like, how do you make your choices? And are you thinking about like who would come and support you
mm.
in this storytelling effort if, based on various characters?
I mean, yes, my mother is my biggest fan for sure. It's just been her and I since I was like 6 years old. And so every time, like when I was in shows growing up in summer camp, and then when I went into high school, mom was the first one at the theater. Even it's so funny. Like when she comes to see plays now with assigned seating, she will be the first one in the theater, and I'm like, "You have an hour to wait, mom." She's like, "I don't care. I'm going to be the first one in here." So yes, fully supportive always. My choices, I mean, I'm certainly not, and I'm not going to pretend like I am in a place in my career where I can pick and choose these roles. You know what I mean? When an opportunity comes along, I'm going to audition for it. I want to audition for it because I want to work. I love working. So again, I'm not in a place to choose, but I've been very blessed this year, especially to just have this huge umbrella of stories from different parts of the world and different parts of the brain and the heart that I've been able to chip away at and experience. It's been really exciting.
Yeah. Are there any roles that if you did have choice that you would wanna play?
Mm, I haven't gotten to a lot of the guys in Shakespeare, so I need to start checking some of those off. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But no, none that I can think of right now. Yeah.
yeah.
I'll start
Just
going down the list of the Shakespeares. It's
yeah,
right
just
there.
enjoying the ride right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and so now that Can't Forget About You is closed, what does the rest of the season look like for you?
So in a month, I just did 5 shows like in a row, back to back to back to back. So this month of April, I get to work my other jobs, which is nice because I think I needed a breather from it. I felt like I was living inside of a dressing room. But then I'm going over to Montgomery Theater, which is in Souderton. It's about 40 minutes away from the city, 45, maybe an hour, depending on the traffic. And we're doing The Shark is Broken, which is about the making of Jaws. And I'm playing Richard Dreyfuss along with
Wow.
Jared Delaney and Damon Benetti, and Matt Pfeiffer's directing that one.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's good point. It's a 45-minute drive because it's not that far. People at Montgomery Theater is not that far.
No, and
It's
they're doing
always
some
good
really
to know
exciting
that.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna put it on my list.
cool. And then I have a company, or I'm a part of this cohort called Theater Contra, and
Mhm.
we do work in the area. We do script readings of films, and we do some original productions as well. And we have a reading coming up of Heathers, the musical, and we're doing that at Trestlin and Tattooed Moms, and we are doing Scott Pilgrim versus the World as well. But we do
Awesome.
it's super fun and very light, very community oriented, very casual too. We come to a restaurant or a bar and read a script together. We'll do a drinking game. It's a lot of fun. Yeah,
That's really cool. Scott Pilgrim versus the World is one of my favorite movies.
it's a good one.
It
Yeah,
there's just there's so much going on in it that it is sort of a sensory overload, and it's
yeah,
kind of like a nerdgasm.
yeah.
I enjoy that, often quote it all the time. You tapped referenced 5 productions that you've been in all season, can you talk about the other ones leading up to
Yeah.
Can't Forget About You?
We started this season at the Lantern. I did The Real Thing by Tom Stoppard. Peter Deloria directed that one. And then I went over and did the solo show at Fergie's Pub, which was called Why I Stuck a Flare Up My Ass for England. And it was a true story about this gentleman. The script itself is a little fictionalized, but this guy in England who was a huge football fan, and during the finals that England was in, he got a little too drunk, a little too high, and started shoving things where the sun don't shine. So the story is about his journey with his friends and becoming sober and things like that. It was awesome. And then I went over to Montgomery Theater for the first time, and we did a show called Over the River and Through the Woods, which is about a young man and his relationship to his grandparents. Also, big comedy, very heartwarming. It was perfect for the holidays, and it had the same kind of impact on audiences, I think, as Can't Forget About You did. Just like uproarious laughter and tears by the end. And then I went to Act Two Playhouse to do Proof. Kate Brennan directed that. It was really fulfilling piece. And then, is that right? Yep. And then now we came here to Can't Forget About You. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So a lot of days I would go to rehearsals, 10 to 6, drive an hour, and do a play.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And see, this is the commitment, you know? Uh, all that goes into getting to all these places. Like, I watch my husband run around town in the various jobs that he has all at once. And I'm just like, there's got to be a way to simplify this. No, this is our business. This is how it works. And the people who seek out that work get that work. And you got to go wherever you got to go to do it, and you're part of it. And it is rewarding to be
It
a
is.
part of all these stories coming to life. Uh, I think more people should understand that about all of us. Like, this is why this matters, because these conversations have the potential to change lives.
Certainly.
Someone who sat in Can't Forget About You maybe built up the courage to have an uncomfortable conversation with their parent. or maybe sort of open their mind to, things that they were kind of repressing or trying to pretend were not as big of a deal. And, all of these stories, they're so well thought out that you're seeing like a scenario that you can make sense of. You're getting both sides of a
Mm,
story, and you can kind of take that as sort of anecdote for whatever it is you want to attach to your own
yeah.
life.
Whatever questions you have. Yeah.
Mhm. Absolutely, and so that's why I am in love with, like, every moment that I've experienced in the theater, and I celebrate all of you for for bringing these stories to life too, because like, we understand what goes into this. The final product is always, worth celebrating.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's twofold too, because it's helped me. This work sometimes can help me answer some of my own life's biggest
Mhm.
questions.
Yeah. And so you talked about, giving time to your other work opportunities, but they are also in support of our community, arts and culture. So talk about some of the places that you work when you're not on stage.
Yeah. So I wish that I could, pay all my bills and rent off of my acting work, but unfortunately, no. So I have way too many side jobs. My calendar is illegible. So I work for the Kimmel Center for Performing Arts part-time, just as an usher. See me if you come see the Philadelphia Orchestra or some of the touring Broadway shows. I'll give you a program, take you to your seat if you want. But I love working there because, like you say, I am kind of still in the room,
Hmm.
even though it's a different job, of course. But I've seen a lot of great artists at work while I'm being paid. Which is pretty cool to get paid to watch a show sometime.
Yeah.
But I also work for the Philadelphia Film Society because as much as I love theater, I also love film. And they're doing some amazing, amazing work over there, showing first run films, but also a huge catalog of curated stuff, older movies that might have been missed. And then I'm a standardized patient. I used to be a historical walking tour guide. I'm a teaching artist as well. It just goes on and on and on because, yeah. But I do all of that because those jobs are hugely supportive of my acting work and they're also completely flexible. So
Yeah.
if I tell them, I can only work certain days because I'm doing a show or, I won't be here for this week because we're in tech, they they say go for it. So
Hmm.
I'm really lucky to have found my place among those jobs because I don't think if I were an IT tech guy or doing a bank teller or anything like that, I wouldn't be able to do some of the theater work that I've done.
Yeah.
So I'm really thankful for my side jobs being as flexible as they are.
And even though they seem sort of piecemeal, as artists, your business, like you are your own business, you're you
Yeah,
incorporated. And
yeah,
so all of those things come together as your full-time work, so to speak. And I think that's also something that everybody doesn't really understand. It's like, oh yeah, independent contractor, because you're working on your own for all of these things, which gives you a little bit of flexibility, but also a bit of uncertainty,
absolutely. And I
which
mean,
creates.
with auditions as actors, we go into a new job interview every 3 or 4 months.
Mhm, yeah.
So
Um,
it's scary, but it's also exciting in its own way.
Yeah. I know, I try to look at the world as like a role-playing game.
Mm,
When you're playing a role-playing game, if you have 20 coins left and you're at a apothecary or something, you're gonna spend all of your money
right.
to get everything you think you're gonna need to move forward, but you don't, and I know it's a game, but it's an open world, so you have to make choices, but you do feel like, "I'll replenish this,"
Mm,
when I get down there, but we it's hard to have that certainty that you will figure it out when you
yeah,
when you're in the real world, and so we
right.
do carry a little bit more anxiety, and I wish that, we could sorta look at it as like a role-playing game where it's just like, as soon as you drain up this,
Mm,
you go do something and you get more of what you need. It's just
hmm.
not that predictable in real life.
That's fun though, because you can go on as many side quests as you want,
Yep.
right? But then you're
I
just trying to stay on the main story for
Yeah.
as much as you can.
I have a T-shirt that says, "I'm not procrastinating, I'm doing side quests."
Well, all the side quests give you experience and more
Huh?
coins to
Exactly.
be better at the main story, right? Yeah.
Yep, exactly. So, yeah, I mean, listen, this is a public service announcement to say hire an actor. into
Yeah.
pretty much any role. If you
Hey,
need a
we're
role
really good.
filled,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. We're really good at, public speaking. We're comfortable
Hmm.
talking to strangers.
Yeah.
There's a lot of skills that go into acting that translate to these little tiny jobs
Yeah.
and small world stuff. Yeah.
The ability to reset for an audience, you're not carrying stress from a week ago, at the night of performance. Like you're position, focusing yourself in this moment here. And that ability, that is a superpower that I
Yeah.
think we all embody. And it is something that I think maybe others take for granted.
Or reading the room, listening, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, so I'm glad that we got to see that show. I would have loved to talk to you during it, but I think it's
Me
great to
too.
talk after it because you can kind of spoil it a little bit.
That's true. Yeah.
Somebody will have to read the script to get all those pieces in one place. But what a great experience! And I think when you look at all of the work that you've done, some of the things like you said, you have to make money and everything. Are you proud of the work that you've done?
Absolutely. And I tried it, you know, and I've gotten better at it. But, my biggest flaw is coming home and replaying everything that I just did on stage.
Hmm.
And at some point, you just have to say that I gave it my all and left it all on the dance floor.
Yeah,
And every night, go in there and try to relive the play for the first time, new, have a new experience every night. So now that I've been working for, God, 10 years, I'm gotten a lot better at just giving it my all 100% and leaving it there and not taking the work home with you. Go home and eat dinner and watch some TV.
yeah,
Just de-stress. So I can confidently say, yes, I am proud of the work that I've been able to do, and I'm very thankful to be part of this community that is so supportive of what we do.
absolutely.
Yeah,
All right, Adam. Well, this is our first chat. We did it.
awesome. First of many, I hope.
Yes, absolutely. To many more conversations, but it was great chatting with you to sort of catch up with you and kind
Yeah,
of unpack your last production and to look forward to seeing you on stages as our season reaches a dynamic conclusion as it will.
yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much for chatting with me today. It was truly a pleasure.
Thank you. Same with you. Yeah.